Hi Adeayo, how you doing?
I'm fine, man. How you doing now? What's up?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I'm great. So, Naira Marley and Zinoleesky have been dropping songs, and they're trying to make a comeback.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seems like that.
yeah. So, how sensitive is this conversation?
Yeah, of them making a comeback.
Yeah.
It's quite a sensitive conversation. To be honest, it's a conversation people are not willing to have for good reason. I
Okay.
don't think anyone wants to be in this seat right now talking about the possibility of Naira Marley and Zinoleesky making a comeback in Nigerian music industry. Right, it's a very sensitive topic. People deliberately stay away from for good reason, as I said, because we lost a very promising artist, a shining light in Nigerian street music. His life was cut short, and painfully so. So, the circumstances regarding his death is still likely unresolved. We still we're still yet to get the full picture. We don't even know if we're ever going to get the full picture. There's still back and forth going on between his family and his associates. So it's a quite sensitive conversation. It's a quite sensitive conversation. So when we have conversations like this, we have to approach it from a place of sobriety, of understanding that we lost someone, and we have to respect the memory of the dead, and we have to respect Mohbad's memory. And at the same time, we have to explore the conversation from a very factual and possibly just a very honest perspective. Like, we're here to talk about the music, and we're here to talk about how Zinoleesky and Naira Marley are trying to reintegrate back into the ecosystem. You understand, right? So, and we're talking about the music, right? So they've been dropping music. Can it work? Is it going to work? Are they going to get back to the level they were before? Is the music going to be accepted? So that's what we are here to chop up. It's about the music. So I know people can view it as an attempt to kind of soften the ground for them, try to warm them back into people's heart, right? And I get that. I get that because I'm here having a conversation about them, right? But again, it's about the music. It's what we do. We talk about the music and what we think about it. Of course, and we have to lay out the facts and present it to the people.
After Mohbad's demise, a lot of people on Twitter, called out Naira Marley and Zinoleesky. So, was Naira Marley and Zinoleesky a victim of public anger?
Again, this is very sensitive, right? So after Mohbad's demise, public emotions was high. People were angry, understandably so, right? There's a justification for the anger. This is a young man, a very amazing, talented artist whose life was cut short. And while he was alive, I think to an extent, we had an insight into the troubles he had to endure with his previous label, which is Malian Music. And Naira Marley is the head honcho, and Zinoleesky was a signee. He's still a signee, right? So we have a context into his struggles, into how he had to the things he had to endure with them, right? And after he left, there were news of victimizations, there were information about him being bullied and stuff like that. We might not get a clear picture. We might not know what really transpired deep down, because at some point it looked like this has gone beyond the music. This is just no longer about making music alone. But based on what is available to the public, and based on what I know from my own personal, from my perspective, and from what I've heard within the industry, from people who also had a bit of insight into the situation, the guy had to endure some things, right? And it's passing. Even though it is maybe not directly connected to the label, he still had to endure some things from those labels, right? And people were angry that he had to endure that situation. People were angry because they felt like he wasn't treated well. They felt like he was bullied. He was harassed, and it was sad. It was sad, and people's anger was justified. And in such situations, the public, there's always going to be someone to blame. There's always going to be that need to pull the heap of the fault at a particular entity, at a particular person, right? And at that point, the label, they were perfectly placed to receive that fault. They were perfectly placed to be at the end of public anger, right? So Yeah, I don't think it's far-fetched or it's inaccurate to say Naira Marley and Zinoleesky are victims of public anger, public sentiment. I think they are, but I don't want to sit here and legislate on the justification of that sentiment. Like, is it right that the public had some type of feeling towards them? Is it right that the public was angry towards them? I don't want to sit here and legislate on that. But what I can say is that whatever it is, like, this situation, there's a good reason for it. The public, fans, consumers, listeners, they, maybe even the street, they're not angry for no reason, right? They're the reasons they are angry, and maybe it's out of proportion, maybe it's not. It is to a large extent right now. It's largely relevant, right? Because the fact is that they are cancelled because of some of the things they did, or at least some of the things the public are judged that they did to Mohbad.
So this public anger led them to be cancelled. I would like to ask, is cancel culture an effective tool in Nigeria?
To be honest, I can't say if is cancel culture an effective tool in Nigeria or not, right? Primarily because I can't recall time when someone was cancelled in Nigeria. We don't have a culture of cancelling people in Nigeria. I mean, we say a lot of stuff on social media, a lot of battering. People are tagged in a particular light, right? But I've not seen like a deliberate, a conscious mass effort to actually cancel a particular person the way it's done in the West, right? The way celebrities are cancelled in the West. I don't think I've seen anything like that in Nigeria. Right, so is it effective? Is it an effective tool even in and out of Nigeria to an extent? Outside Nigeria, it is effective to an extent. I mean, during the Me Too time, during the Me Too situation, we saw a lot of celebrities go cancelled. Even after that, we've seen situations of celebrities getting cancelled, and a couple of celebrities have also made comebacks after being cancelled, right? So it's not really. If you are cancelled, it's not like the end of the world. You can always make a comeback. Some people struggle to make comebacks after being cancelled, but most times people successfully make comebacks, right? And for Nigeria, I don't know if it's an effective tool. I don't know, because there's not really people are not really cancelled like that in Nigeria. What we do is we just make a lot of noise on social media. And the reason I hold this position to an extent is because, like, if we cancel in Nigeria, right, if we have this strong cancelling culture, and we're able to hold grudge, and that grudge motivate our future actions, then I think we should have better leadership. I think we have maybe one of the worst leaderships in the world. Like, our set of leaders, they are garbage, right? And there are people who should not near public office again because of their track record. But they run for office and they still win. I mean, you have someone who was head of state, tanked the economy, has nothing to offer, MC, still came back and still successfully convinced people that he should be voted in as president, and he was voted in as president. So I don't think we are not able to have old grudges. So I don't think we have like a really strong cancel culture in Nigeria. For what is what, I think we have structural amnesia, national amnesia. We forget things too easily. So as far as cancel culture goes in Nigeria, I can say I don't think it's an effective tool.
All right. So have musicians made comebacks after being cancelled?
Yes, I mean a lot of them. If I'm just going to even see recently, just like recent, like Morgan Wallen, the American country artist, around 2021, he got into trouble for using a racial slur. He used the racial slur and he got into trouble. It was recorded. He got into trouble almost at the same time his music picked up. His album Dangerous went off the chart, so he began like seeing a commercial resurgence, right? And from there he apologized, picked it up, and the next thing he dropped a new album, One Night at a Time, and the lead single at One Night took off, was smashing Billboard records, smashed the 34-year-old Billboard record set by Metallica, right? It was just that's someone who was cancelled and almost instantly made a comeback, just practically made rubbish and light work of his cancellation. Then let's talk about maybe the most cancelled artist in recent time in the history of music, Kanye West. That one is cancelled every 3 weeks. He does something that will make people cancel him, right? But he successfully made comeback times and times again. Just announced a new album and people are hugely and highly anticipating the album, right? And even way back from someone like Chris Brown, he had the Rihanna situation, he made a comeback. Janet Jackson when I think 2004 when she was performing at the Super Bowl final with Justin Timberlake. Yeah, and the situation, the breast situation happened, and she was brutally cancelled. I mean, gradually she made a comeback. So a lot of people have been cancelled and successfully made comeback. So it's not like the end of the world when artists are cancelled. They can make comeback. The steps they're like steps they take to make comebacks. Like you apologize, that's one of the first steps. You apologize, then you start putting out music again. You do a bit of press run, explain yourself, then you integrate yourself into the society you wrong. Like when Boga Wallen said that racial slur situation, that racial slur that got him cancelled, he apologized. Continued, didn't stop putting out music, and even tried to do some. He reached out to black communities, right, and tried to seek forgiveness, integration, people to welcome into the fold, and acceptance, stuff like that. So it helps people to move on, And I mean, although Mogawale's case is curious because he's white, and we cannot deny the fact that they're white supremacists. They're white people who really liked the fact that he said that stuff. Yeah. So those ones were even going out of their way to support him for saying that stuff. So it was like he was getting support from doing the wrong thing, and he was also getting support for trying to do the right thing. Yeah. So Kanye apologized. He disappeared for a while, then came out on Twitter, posted the apology to the Jewish community, and trying to take it step by step again and put out new material. So people, definitely musicians, there's just a long list of musicians that have made comebacks after being cancelled. But in Nigeria, right? Again, as I said, we do not have a record of cancelling people. From off the top of my head, from what I know, and from what I even the people I know, the musicians I know that were cancelled, because this cancel culture came with social media, at least in Nigeria. It wasn't something a couple of years back. It's just something that is happening now. And even in the US, it grew after the Me Too movement, cancel culture exploded. So I think the band was, they was trying to cancel him, blacklist him after. I mean, there's blacklisting in the industry when that one is internally, right? It's not like the cancel culture where it's the mass market, they are consumers. It's the public canceling you. It's different from getting blacklisted. Maybe you offended a big artist, and the artist got together with his friend and say, okay, we're blacklisting this guy, don't feature him, don't play a song. It's different. So the last I know, where consumers try to cancel a Nigerian artist is the band, and that was not major. It was just a subsection of consumers, mostly those with feminist inclination, that was trying to cancel him then because of the sexual assault accusation. Then of course Odumodu too, he's been in trouble with them a couple of times, and they talk about cancelling, and he also reminds them that only God can cancel somebody, that nobody can cancel me. So it's not a thing in Nigeria. So I cannot see this person in Nigeria has been cancelled and successfully made a comeback, because I don't think any artist has been successfully cancelled in Nigeria, except of course Naira Marley and Zinoleesky. It's actually now beginning to look like these ones are cancelled for real, and so their case is like a precedent. So we don't actually have their case is a precedent. We don't actually have precedents to explain it. Their case is the first situation. So their case is going to be the one to actually set the precedent for future cancellation if at all it ever happens again.
So can Naira Marley and Zinoleesky make a comeback?
I mean, as I said before, their case is a peculiar one. It's a curious one because I've not seen a case of an artist getting cancelled in the history of Afrobeat. Possibly before Afrobeat, maybe there have been situations of artists getting cancelled publicly and their music becoming a situation of persona non grata. But in the history of Afrobeat, in the history of modern Nigerian mainstream music, Nigerian mainstream pop music, I cannot recall when an artist got cancelled at the level at which both of them have been cancelled, right? So can they make a comeback? I genuinely cannot see. But let's look at those who have made a comeback where we're not in Nigeria. Again, there's no precedent in Nigeria, so we have to look outside for precedent. And let's look at common denominators in the career of those who have made a comeback. I think one of the first steps in making a comeback is apologizing. You apologize for the thing you did that led to that cancellation. So that's like conceding a bit of power to the public. These apologies, they do not even have to be necessarily sincere. These people might not even have a change of heart, but they understand that they have to concede some power to the public. So Morgan Wallen apologized. Kanye had to apologize when Kevin had that situation. When he was supposed to host the Oscars in 2019, I think, and like his past tweets about like homophobic jokes and stuff resurfaced, and like he said he's tired of apologizing, but he still even apologized again before stepping down from hosting the Oscars. Chris Brown had to apologize. Everyone, you have to first apologize before you now start taking the next step at social rehabilitation, image rehabilitation. It's just basic PR, right? So again, Mohbad and Zinoleesky and Naira Marley situation is tricky, because they cannot apologize. They cannot follow that first step. Apologizing is an admission of doing something. And admitting to what the public is alleging is very, very is critical. It's critical. So that's someone, they cannot follow that step. They cannot apologize. They cannot come out and say, please forgive us, we're sorry. So that means you did that shit. Whatever they say you did it. Right, so number one, so that's an issue on its own. That's an issue on its own. They cannot apologize. And so what next? What can they do? They possibly can. I mean, they've been doing some things already. Naira Marley and Zino took to the streets to give out money and just like integrate with the street boys. That's one way, but that's different. For you to be huge, you need mainstream success. Your music needs to be accepted by the mainstream. People need to talk about you on social media. They need to play your song on radio. People need to be confident enough to be able to use your song as reels on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram. That's not the situation right now. So yeah, they can exploit let me not say the obvious poverty in Nigerian street and like use that to like, okay, we're back in the street, give sadaka and stuff like that. But it's different. It's different, right? So they need to do it's going to take more than that to make it come back. So the next step after apologizing, is you start doing media around and you start trying to see like, why did I say this? What happened? This is not my intentions. Try to like quote unquote humanize yourself again. Try to let people understand you. That's not something that has happened so far. Understandably so, because possibly the platforms are not forthcoming and maybe they are beating their time. I think the case is still in I think their case is still in court. I think their case is still in court. They just have to beat. I mean, that's Naira Marley, of course, because this kind of thing he has any legal or police issues, right? Naira Marley's case is still in court, so I don't think he can start doing media rounds while the case is still in court. That's possibly advice from his lawyers. And while on Zinoleesky's part is just maybe the platforms are not there yet, right? I think maybe there are some people who will be willing to have a sit down with him and hear him say his part, like what happened, what transpired. Possibly there are platforms who will be willing to do that, but it's going to make for great content that will generate traffic and stuff, but possibly on his own end he's not ready to take that route yet. So again, that's another step that has been left out in the step of making a comeback, right? So the third one is like putting out music. So for you to put out music, you need to continue putting out music just to remind people that I'm still here, because you cannot live for long. I'm still here, and he's dropped 2 songs. He dropped Sakara, I think Sonia Adeayo, and the song did decent numbers. They surpassed over 1 million streams on Spotify, both of them, and nobody talked about them. There's not a lot of people just but I still saw some blogs on IG posted Zino dropped a new song, but it's not the hype, the excitement, the way people would normally talk about it, because it's not really cool now to talk about these things. It's not popular to talk about these things. Even if he's willing to pay influencers to do promotions, a lot of influencers might not be willing to take that money because it's going to reflect on them badly, right? So that's another issue. You cannot promote well, but definitely you have to keep dropping songs. So he's doing that right now, and that's going to be key to his comeback. you have to keep dropping music to remind people that you were there. And it's key to maybe you drop music that gives an insight into the situation that happened. I think Sonny Ade did that to an extent, but it's not like you have to. I don't think he's taking the right approach yet in terms of the music he's releasing. I think he needs to be release more sober music. Like maybe not necessarily. I don't think it's time. This is just my opinion, though. I don't think it's time to be try to drop a banger. Just be like, if I drop a banger, these guys will just dance and forget what's happening. You understand? Yeah. I think it's time for him to drop that kind of that song, many things, like a song like that, a song with such that sobering effect that captures the situation, that explains a bit and let people have an insight into what happened. And I don't know, maybe people will just like understand better and buy it, right? So that's one step. But he's dropping music, which is important. And I mean, if he's going to make a comeback, I think he's going to need collaborations to do it. I think solo releases won't cut it. I mean, it's important for him to drop music, but I don't think just dropping music will cut it. I mean, he's not doing media rounds yet. He's not saying it's part of a story yet. There's an apology will probably never come true. Never. He's not speaking to the media to share it's part of the story. So dropping song here, but just dropping song won't cut it. So he's going to need collaborations. He's going to need big names, to give him a hand. Every time an artist successfully made a comeback in Afrobeat, these are not cancelled artists, so just like artists who left the scene and made a comeback successfully. They had to rely largely on collaborations. When Duncan Mighty made a comeback, he had collaborations with Davido, with the DMW crew. He had collaboration with Wizkid, Tiwa Savage, I think Lil Kesh as well, right? So that they gave him a hand. They lifted him. When Ian made a comeback, he had the song with Keys, Daniel, and Davido. So they gave him a hand. From there he picked up Benson and co. So you need a superstar. You need someone with mass commercial appeal, mass consumer appeal, people listening to. You need someone like that to give you a hand. Maybe not necessarily a collaboration, even just like a co-sign. Maybe see you chilling with that person. If people, just for example now, if listeners should see Zino chilling with a superstar, let me not just call anybody's name, right? Because chilling with a mega star, one of the big artists, the fans of those artists, people who ordinarily have issues with Zino, blame him for different stuff, they might be willing to start being more logical and start saying things like, to what extent can we hold him guilty? Is he not a victim himself? What exactly could he have done to save this person? These are logical angles that they might have shot their hearts to, and they're not willing to explore. But if they should see him with their favorite artist, they might be willing to start exploring that logical angle just to justify his appearance with their favorite artist, because they don't want to drag their favorite artist. You understand? So these are the things you need, for social integration. You need like co-science collaboration. But will it happen? Is it going to happen? I very much doubt so. Because anybody who is willing to put themselves out there and stake their neck for him, they are putting their social currency on the line, and it's a risk. And I don't think artists are willing to take that risk. It's just the truth. And it's just the way the world works, right? They fuck with you when you're popping, they fuck with you when things are going well. They know that your verse is worth something, you bring your talent to the table, and when they need that, they'll go and get a verse from you. But when they go to get stuff and you might need them to come through for you, they won't. Everybody will keep quiet, and because their publicists tell them, don't get involved in this stuff. And that's why Tory, when Tory had that situation, he was really, really pained when he dropped the album, where he explained everything that happened. He was saying how when he did that Instagram radio thing during the pandemic radio, like the big guys, all the big artists were fucking with him. They were on live, Instagram live, saying Tory this and that. They were his guys and they loved him there. But when shit hit the roof and he was left out to dry, people were shading him, everybody moved on, nobody wanted to get close to him. It's just the way the world works, right? You cannot blame these guys too, because they have their own brand to protect and they have their own mouths to feed. So it's just the way it is, right? So his comeback right now relies on if at some point the public would move past the situation and just like and start accepting his music the way it used to be, and the longer it takes for the situation to resolve, the longer it takes for the public to move on, the harder it would be for him to actually make a comeback, and the harder it would be for any artist to want to give him that cosign. But right now, I think dropping music is going to be very key. It's continuously dropping music and trying to remind people that is out there. It's going to be very key. But can he make a comeback? Nobody can say. Nobody can say right now, because it's just it's up to. He just needs maybe something to trigger it, and people will just move on. But right now, it's not looking like that. But as long as he continues dropping music, and as long as he continues to make an effort, then nobody can say that he can make a comeback. Same thing with Naira Marley. I think he dropped a song recently and dedicated the song to Mohbad, and it was not really. I mean, people didn't really care. I mean, everyone seems to have moved on. So I think they can't follow the normal steps in making a comeback. So they just have to rely on continuously dropping music and hoping that one day, sooner or later, people would accept their music and they can be socially integrated and they can get back to the level they used to be. And that's factual.